Good morning, children. Today we start with chapter 11, pressure. Okay. So, what is pressure? What is the relationship between force and pressure? Definition of pressure, relationship between force and pressure, and area and pressure. Okay. All these things we will study. How to calculate pressure. Okay. So, we are going to define pressure. So, pressure is defined as the force per unit area. Force acting in unit area. It is called pressure. Now, for pressure is equal to force divided by area. Okay, numerator is force and denominator is area. SI unit of force is Newton. Okay, Newton is represented as capital letter N. Capital letter N. The symbol is capital letter N. SI unit of area is meter square. Area usually we calculate as length into breadth, meter into meter. It is always. So it is meter square. SI unit of pressure is Pascal. PA. Pascal. 1 Pascal is equal to Newton per meter square. Newton per meter square. Newton. Force is the numerator and area is the denominator. So SI unit of force is Newton. Newton is the numerator and meter square is the denominator. Now we are going to calculate pressure. So first problem. We'll start with the first one. If a force of 2 Newton is applied over an area of 2 centimeter square, calculate the pressure produced. So here the force is 2 Newton. Okay, it is in SI unit. Force is in SI unit and area is 2 centimeter square. So area is not in SI unit. So we have to calculate the area in SI unit. Area is in centimeter square. So we have to convert it into meter square. 1 meter is 100 centimeter. 1 meter square is 100 into 100 centimeter square. So what will be 1 centimeter square? 1 divided by 10,000. So 2 centimeter square is 2 divided by 10,000. It is 0.0002 meter square. Now we can calculate. Now area we converted into SI unit. Isn't it? 2 centimeter square we converted into SI unit. We converted into meter square. So pressure is equal to force divided by area. 2 Newton divided by 0.0002 meter square. That is 10,000 Pascal. Isn't it? So we are getting pressure as 10,000 Pascal. Now the second problem. Calculate the pressure if a force of 2 Newton is applied on an area of 2 millimeter square. What is the difference between the first problem and second problem? Second problem, area is in millimeter square, very less. But force is the same. In the first case and second case, the force is 2 Newton. So when we calculate pressure, we can check what will happen. Okay. So the area is not in meter square, so we have to convert into meter square SI unit. So 1 millimeter is 1 divided by 1000 meter. 1 millimeter square is 1 divided by 1000 into 1000, that is 1 divided by 1 lakh meter square. Area is 2 divided by 1 lakh, that is 0.000002 meter square. Pressure is equal to force divided by area, that is 2 Newton divided by 0.000002 meter square, that is 1 lakh Pascal. So previous problem, what we got? We got the pressure as 10,000 Pascal. Their area was more, 2 centimeter square. Now area is reduced, so pressure increased. Now you understood what happens. When area is reduced, the pressure is increased. So the pressure depends on area. Okay. Then one more factor, pressure depends upon the force also. From the equation itself, you can understand pressure is equal to force divided by area. So the two factors that affect pressure. Okay, the two factors that affect pressure are increasing force, that increases the pressure, and increasing the area decreases the pressure, just opposite. Okay. Now we can see some daily life situations. Okay, we are applying this theory when we are decreasing area and increasing pressure. Okay, look, that's cutting tool. Okay, knife. Knife had a sharp edge. Okay, they have very sharp edge. Okay, because the area is made less to increase the pressure. Okay, so with very less force, with very less effort, we can cut. Okay, the things, cut the things. Similarly, nails and needles and pins, they have sharp ends, isn't it? The surface area is very small, so the force we can apply, we can apply very less force and we will get high pressure at the end. Okay, because the end of the needle is very sharp, surface area is very small. The studs on a football boot, they have only a small area of contact with the ground. The pressure under the stud is high enough for them to sink into the ground, so it will give us extra grip. Now the daily life situations where we are decreasing pressure by increasing the area. Okay, best example is the third one. Look here, the shoulder pad of the bag. Okay, if the shoulder pad of the bag is wider, your shoulder, okay, your shoulder, the pain will be very less. The shoulder pain will be very less when you are carrying the bag. Okay, why? Because if it is wide, the wider the bag, that shoulder pad, the area will be more. It means the area is more, then the pressure will be less. Okay, the pressure on your shoulder will be less. That is why we prefer, okay, the shoulder, the bags with wider shoulder pads. Okay. So less pain to your shoulders. Whenever you are selecting bags, you can select that type of bags, it is better. Similarly, the tractors and trucks, okay, that are carrying heavy load, okay, they have wider tires. Their tires, they cannot use cycle tires. Okay, wider tires. Okay, tractors, trucks and everything, they have lorries, they have wider tires, because it will increase, while we are increasing that area, the pressure on the ground or on the road will be reduced. Okay. Now skis. Okay, when you are doing skiing in the snow, okay, skis have large area to reduce the pressure on the snow. Okay, so that they do not sink in the snow. Now the nature's adaptation, you might have studied adaptation in biology. This is, what is this animal? It is camel. Okay, it is camel, called ship of the desert. Desert, which type of soil? Sandy soil, very difficult to walk in the sandy soil, isn't it? So in the sea, beach and everywhere you can see sandy soil, but this camel can walk fast in the sandy soil, because it has which one? Flat feet. It will increase the surface area and reduce the pressure. Okay, increasing surface area and reducing the pressure on the sand. Okay. Now the next one is about fluid pressure, the pressure exerted by fluids. Liquids and gases together are called fluids. Fluids exert pressure on all bodies immersed in it. Okay, in them, and on the walls of the containers also. So a balloon expands when we blow air into it, because air inside it exert pressure on the walls of the balloon. If we blow it again and again, what will happen? Because of high pressure, the balloon will break, balloon will burst. Okay, so it is an example for air exerting pressure. So fluids are exerting pressure on all sides, on the walls of the containers also. Okay, what about upward? Okay, if fluid is water is in a container, what will happen to the upward force? Okay, we will see one activity. We will see one activity now to explain that fluid pressure. Then what happens when an object is immersed in a liquid? That also we will see one activity. Okay, so first activity we will see that we can see that when area is less, pressure is more. That is the activity in your textbook. Then the second activity we can see that the liquids, the fluids apply an upward force. That is why objects like balloon, water bottle and everything float on water. Okay, and stone and everything will sink in water because you have studied in the previous class forces acting in different directions, isn't it? Some forces will act in upward direction and some forces acting in downward direction. If downward force is more, the object will sink in water. If upward force is more, the object will float in water. So if water can apply force upward, okay, upward, that upward force is more than the weight of the object will float. And stone, its weight is more than the upward force of water, so the stone is sinking in water. Okay. So dear children, see these activities. One more activity is there, that activity is in your textbook. Okay, see these three activities.
So we are going to do an activity to observe the effect of pressure. How the effect of pressure and area, the relation between pressure and area, you can understand. So for the materials, okay, the materials needed for this experiment is a bundle of paper. I am taking a book, okay, a bundle of paper and a sharpened pencil. I am using here pen, okay. So we have to press the paper. I am going to press the paper with this blunt end of the pen. This is the blunt end of the pen. I am going to press it. So an impression we can make, isn't it? Not holes, using this blunt end. Then I am using this pointed end. This pointed end of the pen. Okay. The same force I am applying. Okay. The same force I am applying on the paper. And look here. Hole is formed. Okay. With less effort, a hole is formed. So what is our observation? We can find that if we press very hard, we can able to make an impression on the paper with the blunt end. But we with much less effort, we can make a hole in the paper with the pointed end. Now the conclusion is the surface area of the blunt end. Okay, this is the blunt end and this surface area is larger than the surface area of the pointed end. This is the pointed end. Here surface area is less. Here blunt end surface area is more. So with much smaller force, the greater pressure is produced. Okay, with the pointed end. So area is less, the pressure will be more. Okay, we are going to do the next experiment to know about the fluid pressure. Fluids are exerting pressure. So we are taking water. Okay, now I am putting this bottle, plastic bottle. It is floating on water. The plastic bottle is floating on water and I am pressing it. Okay, when I press and I remove the hand, it is coming back. Because when I press against my force, water is exerting force. That is why if I press, it is going down and it is coming back. With balloon also the same way. Okay, your textbook it is mentioned that it is balloon, doing the activity with the balloon. Okay, I am doing with this bottle. When I press this bottle, it will go down and it is coming up. Okay, so some objects will sink in water and some objects float in water. So the upward force exerted by the liquid determines whether the object will float or sink in a liquid. This upward force, the liquid is exerting an upward force. Okay, if the weight of the object exceeds this upward force, if the water is able to exert an upward force, if the weight of the object is more, then what will happen? The object will sink. If it is a stone, it will sink in water because that the weight is more than the upward force exerted by water. We are going to see if we can push an inverted bottle into a bucket full of water. So what are materials needed? A transparent water bottle, plastic water bottle, a bucket full of water, compass or divider with the sharp points. Okay. Now we are taking the empty plastic water bottle, upturning it, and I am trying to push it in the upturned position into the water in the bucket. Okay, what do you observe? I cannot push it. Only half of the bottle is filled with water. Half water is there. Actually, empty bottle is actually not empty. It contains air. So, air pushes the water in from there. Okay, it prevents the water coming inside the water bottle. Okay, so we need a lot of effort to push the water bottle inside. Okay, now I am going to make hole here. Okay, using this compass, I am going to make hole in the water bottle. Okay, okay children, make a hole. For convenience, we can make 2 or 3 holes in the water bottle. Okay, so now look what happens. The full water enters into the water bottle. Okay, because air escapes through the holes. Air is escaping through the holes. So, water bottle is filled with water. So, water bottle is not filling with water because the air is present inside the bottle and air pushes the water outside. So, air can also exert pressure.